Hello, this is a short video that will provide an overview of a new feature that we have in the 78 and 8800 series phones, and essentially this is a safety feature. So for quite some time we've had the ability to have a hotline, so when I take this off hook it would automatically dial this. But we've had the request to have the ability for if this got knocked out of my hand, right, or I dropped it for whatever reason, for safety reasons, I want it to be delayed and call this. So essentially, I am delaying by 15 seconds the call to the other phone. And in the interim, I could just use this as a normal phone, right? So I can go ahead and dial other numbers, etc. So it's not invoking the sort of emergency dial. So the emergency dial would only happen if I go off hook and the phone gets dropped for whatever reason, and as a safety measure it will go ahead and call this. So it's basically delayed PLAR. And that's sort of the overview of how this works. Let's give it another few seconds and you can see how that it's going ahead and invoking the hotline functionality to this other phone. So let's take a look at how you actually configure this. So in terms of configuring this, the setup on UC Manager is very straightforward. So basically this is a document that's posted on our community website. The shortened URL is cs.co/SIP-PLAR, and it's a very straightforward process. You create a SIP dial rule, you basically associate that to a button, and then you create a translation pattern. So let's take a look at this of an actual configuration on UC Manager. Now on UC Manager, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Call Routing, Dial Rules, SIP Dial Rules, and then here I would create a PLAR line specifying the button and the button number just like I would on a normal PLAR line. Make sure when you do this that you click the button Add PLAR. Don't click the button that says Add Pattern. And then the next thing we need to do is create a translation pattern. And this translation pattern basically will be empty in the actual translation pattern field, but we will need to specify the calling search space here, and then we also need to specify what the PLAR will send the number to, right? What will the PLAR dial? So we specify that here. And then on our actual phones, the source phone, the one that is calling, will need to have the SIP dial rule specified that we created. So we have the PLAR line 1 SIP, and then we also need to have the delayed PLAR parameter enabled. So this does require the latest device pack, and if you do not enable this, then it will just ring out immediately. So what this delayed PLAR does is that it actually will introduce that 15-second delay. And then the last thing we have to do is where it says our directory number, we must specify a calling search space for the actual number to be reached at. And so our destination device will need to be in a partition that calling search space can actually reach. Last but not least, I can adjust the 15-second timer from 0 all the way to 2.5 minutes. What I can do is basically create a SIP profile, and then in the SIP profile what I can do is actually change it from 15 seconds. So here, as you can see, we have the off hook to first digit time in milliseconds. We would basically change that. So if I wanted it to be 10 seconds, I would basically change that here. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much.